Good morning and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar presentation. Today we're taking a look at house accounts, billing and processing, checking in, checking out, and all those great things. So taking a look at our presentation overview for today, we'll start with some introductions, a little bit of housekeeping at the beginning of today's presentation. Then we'll dive into an overview of house accounts, how to use them, what they are, where they can be found. We'll look at creating house accounts and reservations for those house accounts. We'll look at managing house account billing, where you can post charges, payments, issue folios, things like that for all the billing purposes there. We'll also take a look at some house account reporting, where these house account transactions and reservations actually appear within the existing reporting in Roomkey. We have some frequently asked questions, or FAQ, and then we'll wrap up today's presentation with a summary and Q&A. So diving right into our introductions for today, my name is Tasha Leclerc. I'm a trainer and implementation specialist with Roomkey PMS. Joining me today, I do have our Director of Customer Experience, Mr. William Tam. Today, I'll be leading today's presentation, as well as all of the demonstrations on screen, and William will oversee the chat and Q&A. Everyone attending today's live presentation is on mute, but we do want your participation. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, go ahead and click the Q&A button. William will be able to type out an answer to you, or if there are if there are extra questions towards the end, we can use those as part of our Q&A at the end as well. Couple more things about today's webinar. It is being recorded. A copy of the recording will be made available on our support website, so you can review it and share it with other people unable to attend today. For those of you attending our live presentation, there is a webinar survey at the end, just a couple of quick questions about how this presentation is, and you can also make suggestions for topics for future webinar presentations. All of that information is very helpful to us, and we do appreciate the time for those quick couple of questions there. So taking a look at an overview of our house accounts, the term house account is quite broad, but for Roomkey, we use the term house account to refer to any non-inventory room type that is used for billing purposes. So some other terms that you might have come across with other types of PMS might be a posting master or PM account, an event master, group master, any other terms like this. It refers to some sort of special room type that is created inside the database, similar to your standard room types. The only difference with these house account rooms is that that room is not used for guest occupation. There's not actual physical room, so it's not part of your physical guest room inventory. It's used only for billing purposes for that folio component. So couple more things. I mentioned why they're used for that folio component, and that does have to do with certain types of billing scenarios where you might use house accounts for things like event billing. This could be meeting room rentals, ballroom rentals, any facility rentals that you have that are non-guest room, but maybe publicly available at the hotel. That could also include catering for those events, AV equipment, the like. House accounts can also be used for group billing. So if you have a group that's in-house and they want all of their room and tax charges for the separate guest rooms on one single bill, we could use a house account for that. We can also use a house account for internal or staff postings. So if you allow staff members to charge maybe a staff meal during their shift to the hotel, we can use posting masters or PM accounts is a common term or tool for those house accounts for internal staff postings. And then lastly, we can also use this to resolve some guest billing issues. If you have a guest that's due out and they've got some issues with their billing, you need to release the room for housekeeping, we can use a house account in order to manage those billing issues, but still release the room for the housekeeping team to go ahead and clean for the next occupant. So we'll see examples of these different uses throughout today's presentation. Couple more things to note about this overview of these house accounts. We do have some permissions and special view settings that I would like to highlight that will help you manage these house accounts. The first one that I would like to highlight is this clerk permission 2140. This is the ability to check out / transfer to a house account. This pertains directly to our checkout procedures, and if you are going to be using house accounts to deal with any guest billing issues. Here's an example of our checkout window, and when you have this permission enabled on your Clerk ID, you will see this little button, or sorry, this large button in the lower right-hand corner. It says checkout / transfer to house account. We will see this in practice, how to use this tool, but I just want to give you a heads up that it is permission-based. So you would need to have that clerk permission enabled on your Clerk ID in order to access this, this tool at checkout. Couple more settings to take note of. With your tape chart display, we do have a setting that allows you to either see or hide house accounts on your tape chart view in Roomkey. There is a checkbox here in the property registry that allows you to show house rooms in the tape chart. I'm just going to bring up a demo database here to show you what that looks like. So this is just a demo hotel here. And on the right-hand side, if I go down to my tape chart view, I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom here, and this is where I can see my house accounts. So this database does show the house accounts on the tape chart. If you do not want to see that, or if you want to change that setting for your own database, you'll go to System Configuration, select the Property tab. That's going to bring up the Property module on screen. There we go. Here in the property module, I'm going to go to the registry tab and over to the left-hand side here. This is where I can show or hide the rooms in the tape chart. So if I don't want to see them, I'll just remove that check mark. I would need to log out and log back in order for that change to take effect. But then once that change is in place, I would no longer see these house accounts on the tape chart. I'm going to leave that setting though for this database because we will be using these in future examples here. Uh, just one other setting here I want to note is our front desk display settings. So this is from our front desk menu. This allows you to have a couple of different selections here. You can either show all, meaning that it's going to show all of your guest reservations and any house account reservations in the front desk views in Roomkey. You could show house accounts only, or you could hide those house accounts. So let me just bring up that demo database again. This refers to any in-house arrival, departure, reservation screens along this right-hand side. So if I'm in-house here at the bottom of my screen, I do see house accounts displayed alongside my regular reservations. If I wanted to change that, I would go to the front desk menu. I would select show house accounts only, which is then going to show just my house accounts in-house. Change that over to hide house accounts. That's only going to show me my guest reservations and no house accounts. Or what I like to use is actually that default option to show all. So it's going to show my guest reservations plus my house accounts all at the same time. And again, that's going to control your in-house arrivals, departures, reservations, checked out, all of these screens along the right-hand side. So now that we've had a bit of an overview of house accounts, what they look like, where they are, let's take a look at how to actually create a house account room type. For most of you, this will be done as part of your initial setup with Roomkey. So once you purchase a Roomkey product, our trainer and implementation team is going to help you create any house accounts that are needed at that time. But if you would like to make new house accounts or make a new type of house account, this video is going to show you how to do that. You will this is restricted to only owner admin user roles. A front desk agent would not be able, with a clerk setting, would not be able to follow these steps because this does involve changing the configuration or creating a new room type in the system configuration menu. So starting from system configuration, you're going to go to room inventory. That's going to open up the property module with the room inventory tab for you, which shows you a list of all of your existing room types. Over to the right-hand side, you'll click the Add button, and this is going to allow us to create a new room type. You can give it a room type name. I'm just going to use house account as the example here, as well as a room type short description. You can set the sort order. The most important thing here is that you want to select house room as the checkbox. You can add a description just to let the team know that this is for billing purposes only, not an actual guest room, when that house room checkbox is selected. You'll go ahead and click Post, and that will create the new room type for you and save it here in the list at the top. Once you create the new room type, you now have to add house account room numbers. So here on the Rooms tab, I'll select House Account and click Add or Add Range. I like to add range because it does allow me to add several room numbers all at once. So for example, I'll use room number 9100, and we'll create all those room numbers through to 9110. So I should be, oh, let me just fix that. There we go, 9110. So that's going to create 10 room numbers for me all at once when I click OK, and I'll see those listed here. Now, this gives me the option to use any one of those room numbers to create a reservation. And here on the tape chart, I would see those displayed. If you have those displayed on house accounts displayed on your tape chart, you'll see them listed here with their room numbers, and then the room type is house account. The next thing that we'll look at is how to change a house account. So if you have a house account room type created in your database and you want to use a different term, instead of using house account, maybe you want to specify that it's a posting master, group master, event master, or if you would like to add more rooms. So that example that we just had showed adding 10 room numbers. If you want to add more room numbers, this video is going to show you how to do both changes to the house account as well as adding or editing any room numbers. So once again, you'll go to System Configuration, the Room Inventory option, and that's going to open up this Room Inventory tab here on screen. You'll select the house account, and on the right-hand side, you can click Modify. That allows you to make changes. Like I said, you can change the room type. Terminology here, you might use the term posting master, group master, event master. You can change any of the other features here for the account itself. Of course, if you're making any changes, whether that be to the sort order or description, you want to make sure that you still have the house room checkbox selected, and you want to select post in order to save those changes. Um, if you want to add more rooms, you'll go over to the Rooms tab. And just like we did before, you can use the buttons on the right-hand side to either add or edit any room numbers. Here, I'm going to add in some more room numbers. We'll continue this series from 9111 to 9120. So that's going to add in another 10 rooms for me to be able to use, or room numbers in order for me to use in the database. As you make any changes here, I do like to recommend going back over to the tape chart view in Roomkey and just double check your work, make sure that those numbers are listed as you want them, and making sure that the room type, of course, that name has changed. Great. Let's see here. We've got another thing that we can do. We do get asked from time to time how to deactivate, or if you want to, if you're no longer using house accounts, we recommend that you use the term or use the tool to deactivate a house account or house account room type. Um, in Roomkey, with configuration of room types, if the room type has not been used, you can delete it. But for all of this type of configuration, once you have used the room type, Event Master, house account, you can no longer delete that room type. You will need to instead deactivate the room type. So this video is going to show us how to do that in Roomkey. So once again, we'll go to the System Configuration menu, select Room Inventory. That's going to bring up a list of all of the room types, including those house account rooms at the bottom. I'm going to deactivate this event master. So instead of clicking the delete button, I'm going to click modify and select the set to inactive checkbox. Click post to save those changes. And you'll notice that that event master room type no longer shows up as part of the active list. It has now moved over to the inactive list. So it preserves any historical data within the database for that room type, but it prevents it from being used again in the future. So if I go over to the tape chart view here, I'll see that I no longer have event masters listed on my tape chart. Those are deactivated. Now that we've seen how we can create and manage, customize those accounts through the property module, let's take a look at how we can now create a house account reservation. Because these are non-guest room type, it means that any reservations that we create for house accounts, we can customize the contact and billing information for each house account, but any revenue will not count towards our ADR calculations for the hotel. So because it is not an actual guest room, it is not considered room inventory, so it will not count towards our average daily rate or ADR or occupancy information. So we've got a couple of different methods I like to recommend, and they are situation based. So the first method to create a house account reservation is going to be using the new res button. So this is going to look very familiar to you if you have created a reservation for a guest. It's very similar with a couple of tweaks. So this video is going to show us how to do that using the new res button. So here in Roomkey, I'm going to click New Res, and that's going to start the reservation process for me. One thing that I would like to recommend, you can use your standard client type, but if you have a house account client type, I recommend using that setup. In the calendar view here, it's going to show us your house account room type, but you'll notice it has a manual rate. Because we do not charge room and tax for house account reservations, you're going to place $0 and use that manual rate. Now, off to the right-hand side, this is where you can actually select a specific room number for your house account. I'll just use 9003 and select the book checkbox. Last thing I need to do is add any guest info. Now, this is going to be for a corporate meeting, so I'm just going to use the name of the company, in this case, Roomkey PMS, and their contact information. I'm going to utilize the res note area to dictate any booking or billing information, just noting that this is in meeting room A. And I have the option to either guarantee or uncheck the guarantee checkbox. If you do want to guarantee with a payment method, you can go ahead and record that payment method just like you would with a regular reservation. Once the reservation is made, you'll see it here in the list of reservations, along with those booking details and any reservation notes we created along the way. So a house account reservation, if you are using the new res button, you might or I would recommend using this method for event billing or any internal or staff postings if you're using the house account for those purposes. So if it was, like I said, a meeting event, you can specify what meeting room it's in using those res notes, and you can record the company contact and billing information as well. If it's for internal staff purposes, you might have the name of the staff member listed as first name, last name, and instead of guaranteeing it to a credit card, you might uncheck that guarantee checkbox because those postings would be just posted to the hotel itself for things like staff meals or any staff purchases. We'll see a couple of examples throughout today's presentation as well. Now, another method that you can use to make a house account reservation is using the groups module. And as you might guess, this is actually the method that I recommend for any group billing. So if it is a group that is in-house, they have a group block. This video is going to show us how we can add a house account or create a house account reservation at the same time as we create the group block. So instead of having to go and do it separately or manually, we can do it all at the same time while we're inside the groups module. So here in the group wizard, group module, on the primary tab, in the general tab information, I always like to recommend adding a note about any booking or billing information so we know room and tax is going to the house account. Here on the routing tab, you can click add house account. And this is again where we're going to select the client type. If you have house account as the option, that is preferred or recommended. The account type, of course, is house account, and then you can select the room from there. Now you can post this without a guarantee, or if you do have payment information for that, whoever's going to be paying for that room charges for the group, you can record that payment method on file here. And you'll notice that this house account is now listed as part of the group. If I go to my reservations screen, I'll see that house account reservation with all of the group details as well as that billing information or the guarantee credit card for the guarantee. So a couple different methods there. Obviously, I'm going to strongly recommend using that second option, using the groups module, if you are creating a house account for a group itself. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about with regards to house account reservations is how to use that checkout/transfer to house account button. And a little reminder from earlier in our presentation, this does require clerk permission, 2140 checkout/transfer to house account. I have a video here that's going to show us what that process looks like or how to use that tool once you have that permission enabled for your clerk ID. And just a little note, this is the method that we recommend for dealing with any guest billing issues at checkout. So um, if you have a guest that owes money, if their payment method on file is no longer valid, or if there's some sort of issue with their payment method at checkout, this method that we'll see here will allow us to check out the guest so that the guest room can be cleaned by housekeeping and set up for the next guest, but it allows you to keep the folio open or those charges open so that you can then deal with any of the billing issues without affecting any of the other operations for the hotel or the next guest checking into that room. So I have this little video here that's going to show us that process. So here on my departure screen, I have this guest, Adam Compton. They are due to check out today. They have a payment method on file, but when I go to check out, for whatever reason, this payment method fails. So I'm not able to collect the outstanding balance. Instead of or to allow me to continue or release the room for housekeeping, but fix the billing issue after, I'm going to click checkout/transfer to house account. This allows me to select the client type, the account type, and specify house specific room for these charges. I'll click checkout/transfer. Room key will confirm that the reservation was successfully checked out, and those remaining charges are now transferred to the house account. So to double check this, I'm going to go to my checked out screen. I'll see that that guest was in fact checked out of room 107. So that room 107 is released and shows as dirty vacant for the housekeeping team. But if I go back to my in-house screen, I will still see a reservation here. This time it's a house account reservation, and I can see those that room charge. Outstanding room charge was transferred over here. So this gives me extra time up to 1 month in order to resolve those billing issues with the guest directly without having to tie up any physical guest room like room 101, which needs to be cleaned and then checked in for the next guest. Oh, just really quickly, I do see a chat there just asking if that 1 month time frame is adjustable. It is. We do 1 month by default, but you could shorten it and check out if you are able to fix the billing issue that same day. You can go ahead and check out the guest and it will adjust automatically. If you needed more than 1 month time frame, you can edit that departure date, just like you would edit a departure date for a guest reservation. Great. Now that we've seen how to create both the account room type, the room inventory, and the reservations themselves, now let's take a look at some more details about billing. We're going to treat this like a guest life cycle or a house account life cycle. So once the account and reservation is created, we can then post advance deposits to those billings. So these are payments in advance of check-in. Next, we'll look at the check-in process and posting charges and payments while the house is in-house, while the house account is in-house. So for our first one here, how to post a deposit to a house account, I have two options. The first one we'll look at is using the post payment button. So in this example, I have an event and I want to post an advance deposit for that event. So I've received some sort of payment in advance of the event itself. Here in Roomkey, I'm going to locate the house account reservation. I have one for this wedding group. And on the Folio tab, you'll see that I have the ability to post payments. So at the top of the screen, I'll click the post payment button. I will qualify the payment information. So I'll specify what payment method I'm using. I can add a reference. So this is going to be a deposit for a wedding event and the amount that's going to be processed. Now, if you have our embedded processing with full steam, you will see the processor enable and approve right on screen. And once that is completed, you will now see the payment wedding deposit recorded on the folio for this house account. Thanks. So that's really helpful once you have the house account that's created. That I would recommend that method for any event billing or catering services in advance. Now, if you are recording a deposit for a group stay, we actually have a tool inside the groups module that will allow you to do that all at once rather than having to go outside the group module itself. So this video is going to show you how to take that deposit using the groups module tool at the same time as creating the group. So here in the Group Wizard module, on the primary tab, I'm going to go directly to routing/deposit. This is where we saw how to add a house account. Once the house account is added, you can click deposit, and that's going to allow us to record a new deposit payment. If there's a payment method on file for the group, that's going to pull up automatically. So all I have to do is enter in the amount that is going to be deposited in advance for this group. And this is just an event deposit here. You'll click OK Exit. And again, if you have our embedded payment solution, you will have the full Steam window processor pop up and give you the approval message directly on screen. Once that has been deposited, you can exit the group wizard. You can actually take a look at that folio in the reservation screen here. We're going to locate the house account for the group, select the folio button, and you'll see that that payment has been recorded as a line item on the folio for that house account. So a couple of different methods there, depending on the purpose of the house account, whether you use post payment or if it's associated with a group, you can do it directly in the groups module. Next thing that we'll take a look at is how to check in a house account. So we've seen how we can record payments in advance. Now let's see how to actually check in a house account. If you've ever checked in a guest reservation, some of these steps are going to look very familiar. So here on the arrivals screen, I'm going to see a list of my house account arrivals, just like I do with my regular guests. I'm going to click check in. This is going to let me know if I have any deposits on file. I do not need to select any available credit. I can review the room number, but all I need to do is click the check-in button. And that's going to complete the check-in for me. So I can now see that this house account is now in-house, and any payments are recorded. But what you'll notice is that because there is no room and tax associated with a house account, there is no room and tax charges. So there's no, it's not an actual house, sorry, it's not an actual guest room reservation. It's a house account reservation. So there's no room and tax charged during this stay or while they're in house. Once the house account is checked in, this is now when you can start posting charges. So this video is going to show you how to post charges to a house account. I'm going to use one of our Posting Master or PM accounts for our internal staff. We mentioned earlier that house accounts can be used to record any internal staff postings. For example, if you allow staff to charge a meal during their stay, or sorry, during their shift, if you allow them to charge that to the hotel, you can use a posting master for that. And this example is going to show that using one of our sales and marketing staff members. So here in Roomkey, we're going to the in-house screen, locate the posting master or PM account for the sales and marketing team. On the folio, I'm going to click Post Charges, and this is going to bring up my charge window. I can select the charge code. In this case, it's going to be a restaurant charge and a staff meal for Nicola in our sales department. So you place the amount that is to be charged and click OK Exit. And that's going to show up as a line item here on the folio for the PM house account or posting master for sales and marketing. The next thing we're going to look at is how to transfer charges to a house account. We've got a couple of different methods we're going to look at. The first one is how to automate this process using routing. We have done a more in-depth presentation earlier this year all about routing charges and using the routing tools in Roomkey. This video is going to show a snippet or kind of a snapshot of two examples where we can use the routing tab on a group. So we can use routing for a guests that are part of a group, or we can use the routing tab on an individual reservation. So this video is a little bit longer because it's going to show us both methods. As well as what it looks like when the transfer occurs, when those charges, once you set up the routing tab to automatically route charges, what it looks like, what that automation looks like, and the end result in Roomkey. So the first example is using the group routing tab here in the group wizard. We have room and tax charges to the house account. First thing you need to do is go to contact and billing info and make sure that folio number for room and tax charges is set to 8. That ensures that the room and tax charges for each individual reservation is going to go to Folio 8. Then here on the routing and deposit, once you have your house account created, you will then add routing instructions. In this case, it's room and tax charges from Folio 8 that are going to be added to the house account. So you'll click the Add button there. You'll see the routing instruction, and you'll click Post to save those instructions. Now, what you'll see here, instead of doing as part of a group, if this is an individual reservation where all charges are going to a certain posting master or house account, we can still use the routing tab. This time we're going to change the stay or double click on the reservation in order to edit the individual reservation and go directly to the routing tab. Here we're going to specify what transactions are going to be routed. This example is just using room charge. And instead of setting a folio number or anything, we're going to go to the res ID and search for the house account, or in this case, it's a posting master for sales and marketing. So we'll select the in-house account and click Add. Now, because both the individual reservation and the posting master are currently checked in, this is actually going to automate that transfer right away. As soon as I click OK, I'm going to have a new pop-up that's going to take any existing room charges for that guest, and it's going to transfer them over to the posting master or the house account that I designated on the routing tab. So when I click OK, it now moves those charges away from this guest folio. So if I take a look at the folio, I can see that these charges have been transferred. This is a transfer icon on the left-hand side. If I go down to my house account for uh, sales and marketing, I will see that those charges now appear inside the house account from that individual reservation. Now that looks a little bit different. That is instant if the reservations are in-house. For group billing purposes, the transfer actually happens at the time of checkout. So here for the room and tax charges for this group guest, at checkout, I'm going to select the checkout button, and that's when the transfer happens. So I can see the balance for the guest account is now 0. I can complete the checkout for the group guest. And if I go back over to the house account for this group, or sorry, for the checked out reservation for this guest, I would see on their folio the room charge and that it was transferred over to a house account. If I go back to my in-house screen, I take a look at that house account. Oh, sorry, it should be Girl Guides. There we go. The house account for the Girl Guides on their folio, I'll see those charges from that group guest that checked out. So the difference with that automation using the routing tab, it depends on if if you're setting up the routing as part of the group. Therefore, the charges will be transferred at the time of checkout for the group. Or if it's set up on an individual that's currently in-house, that transfer is going to happen automatically as soon as you set those changes on the routing tab. Now, I mentioned that the group charges are transferred automatically at checkout. If you don't want to check out the guest, but you do want to transfer those charges, we do have a method of manually transferring charges to a house account, and this is using the Move button. So this video here is going to show us how to do that manually using the Move button on the guest folio. Here in the in-house screen, I have a guest. They are part of the same Girl Guides group where room and tax charges are to the house account. But if I don't want to check this guest out yet, I can go directly to the guest folio, select the charge, and click the Move button. Now this is manual. I will need to select the account. The destination room in this case will be account 9001 for the Girl Guides Canada, and I'll click Post. So that updates the guest. It does not check them out, but it does transfer those charges over to the house account. And of course, if I come back here to the Girl Guides Canada house account, I'll now see those charges from that in-house guest transferred into this account without having to check out the guests themselves. Now that we've seen how we can post charges, transfer charges, I wanted to show you how you can edit those charges on the house account. The first type of editing that you might do is to reverse a posting. So this example video is going to show us how to reverse a charge that we posted to the posting master for sales and marketing, that staff meal. If I posted the wrong amount, I'm going to use the reverse option to reverse that off of the folio or reverse that charge. So here in Roomkey, I'm going to select the house account for the sales and marketing posting master. I'm just going to locate the charge for the staff meal that we posted. And if this was the wrong amount, I'm going to right click on the line item and select reverse. This allows me to record a reason for reversing this posting. And this is actually a posting error. So I'm going to say that this is the wrong amount. So when I click OK, it's going to remove that posting and allow me to repost the correct amount, but it does not delete it completely. If I go over here to Folio 9, this is sometimes called the accounting folio because it's hidden from the main guest, but it does show any reversals. So if you reverse a charge or a payment on a folio, it automatically moves it over to Folio 9. So it keeps the folio clear and concise for the guest, or in this case for the house account. It doesn't clutter it up with a bunch of additional postings. If it was in fact an error or a mistake, you can just use the reverse and it will remove that line item from the folio and allow you to repost the correct amount or the correct charge. Now, similar to reverse, if you do want to show those corrections, I'm going to recommend that you use the adjust/refund tool in order to edit that information. So in this example, I'm going to use the same house account, but instead of using the reverse option, I'm going to use adjustment. And instead of removing the posting, it's going to add a refund. So I'm going to refund a portion of the charge itself. So once again, in my in-house screen, I'm going to locate that house account and click the folio button. That's now going to allow me to locate the charge and this time select adjustment. Now this guest was this was a charge for $300. I'm going to refund $50 from the original $300, and I'm going to add a reason just stating that it was the incorrect room rate, or that was the incorrect charge. I'm just adjusting off. So you'll see that there is no the original charge remains, but if I go down to the bottom of this screen, I will see that my adjustment has been posted as an individual line item where it is refunding that $50. And if there are any taxes associated with that charge, it's also going to back out the taxes for you automatically. So it makes it really easy to make any corrections to any charges, depending on if it was a reversal or if you need to use adjust/refund. Now that we've seen how to manage that billing information, we do need to treat these house accounts similar to a reservation in that we have to check out any house account reservations on their due out date. We did have the question earlier if you can adjust that checkout or due out date. You certainly can, but once that date is, if that date is today, you want to make sure that you're checking out all house accounts that are no longer billing issues. So this video is just going to quickly show you how to do that checkout process, and it's going to be very similar to checking out a guest. So these house accounts on their date of departure, they are going to appear in the departure screen. If you take a look at their folio here, I have a prepayment and a bunch of charges that were transferred into this account. So because everything is prepaid or already settled, I have a $0 balance. I can click checkout. If there was a balance owed, I would be able to process that payment at the time of checkout. Otherwise, you can simply select checkout, and it's going to check out the house account and confirm once that is completed. Any house accounts that have been checked out will appear on your checked out screen here, and you can always go back and take a look at the folio there. Thanks. Speaking of folios, if you need to provide a folio or print a copy of the folio or send or email a copy of the folio to the organization, this video is going to show you how to do that. And it's the exact same way that you would do it for a guest as well. So here on my checked out screen, you'll locate the reservation, the house account reservation, and you'll click guest folio. This is going to allow you to either send it via email or you can click the print button, and that will show you a print preview with the ability to, of course, print that. It's cut off on the screen here, but there's a print icon at the top of the screen that would allow you to print a physical copy of this document. You can also save it as a PDF and send it manually or save it on a local drive or local account on your computer. Now let's take a look at some reporting that is associated with our house accounts. We don't have a set of house account reports, but these house account reservations and transactions do appear on a series of existing reports inside Roomkey. The first one that you'll notice is the property dashboard, or if you use the hotkey shortcut key F1 on your keyboard, you can find that or you can find it in the operations menu called property dashboard. It's going to bring up a live snapshot of what is happening in your hotel, things like arrivals, departures, you have end of day projections, and right in the middle of the screen there is your house rooms. So it's going to keep a record of how many house rooms are checked in currently and how many are due to arrive for the current day. And because the property dashboard is a snapshot, as soon as you take a look at this property dashboard, it's going to show you real-time information. Uh, if you were to take a look at this same property dashboard 2 or 3 hours later, this information is constantly updating, so you might have some different values that are showing up here. But for house rooms, like I said, it's going to show you what is currently checked in and what is due to arrive for the current day. Next to each of those values is a blue drop-down arrow, which allows you to actually print a report. So from the property dashboard, you can quickly collect a report of all of your in-house, your checked in, and any of your arrival house accounts. Now, on the transaction register balance report, or sometimes called the TRB report, this report shows a record of all transactions recorded in the database for a specific date or date range. So any transactions that you record inside a house account, whether that be charges, reversals, payments, all of that will appear on this transaction register balance report. And the one that I'm going to be looking at, there's for those of you who are familiar with this report, there are a couple versions of it. This one is the detail with guest names. That's going to show each and every transaction. This can be quite a large report for a day, but it's going to give you that level of detail where in this case, it's going to tell you the exact account that it was posted to. So under the room hyphen folio column, it's going to tell you the house account room number. This example was the posting master for the staff meals, where it shows the original posting and any reversals or adjustments. And on the guest column at the very end, instead of showing a guest name, it's going to tell you the name on that house account reservation. So I know that these were charges that were posted for the sales and marketing posting master house account. Another area that house accounts are going to appear is your daily balances for in-house guests. This is a report that is typically printed as part of the night audit or auditing procedures for the daily operations here. So it is found in the reports menu, audit section. It's called daily balances for in-house guests. This will show you a list of balances for all of your guests that are in-house for the current date or specific date in the past, and your house accounts are going to appear at the bottom here. So it'll show you your guest balances, and it will also show you any house account balances that are in-house for that specific date. Lastly, we have the tape chart report. Um, I don't see this one used as commonly, but I do like to highlight that this is available. It's found in the reports menu in the reservation section. It's simply called tape chart. This will show you a tape chart view similar to the dynamic tape chart view that we have available in Roomkey. We can display that as a report, and any of your house accounts are going to appear alongside your house account room types are going to appear alongside your regular guest room inventory on this report as well. Thanks. So, a couple of commonly asked questions that we do have about house accounts and this type of customized billing. One of the common questions that we get, especially whenever we're setting up house accounts, is if you can customize house accounts for specific meeting spaces. Now, I mentioned that you can have a house account and just call it you can give it meeting room A or meeting room B like I did for my event space, but if you want to customize that further, you can actually create a separate house account for each of your meeting spaces. So you might have a house account room type for meeting room A, meeting room B, meeting room C, depending on how you name your meeting spaces or event spaces on site. You might want to create a specific account for your ballroom or your terrace rentals or your lounge rentals. Anything like that is very customizable within Roomkey using that room type feature as well as the room numbers themselves. Another common question that we do get as it relates to house account reservations is if you can change a house account reservation to a guest reservation. So if you make a mistake when you are creating a reservation, you create it as a house account, but it needs to be a guest reservation. Or if it is a guest reservation and it should have been a house account reservation. Either of these, they are time dependent. So if you catch this mistake before check-in, we can fix it. We simply change the reservation itself. So for example, here in in Roomkey, you would simply click change stay and you can change the room type. Instead of a guest room, you can change it to a house account, or instead of a house account, you can change it to a guest room type using the change stay button. But if the reservation has already been checked in, we cannot make that change. You would have to check out the reservation and then make a new reservation for the correct room type, whether it's a house account room or a guest room reservation. So just be mindful when you're creating these house account reservations, you want to make sure that it's for the correct room type, not a guest room. It needs to be a house account room. Lastly, a common question that we do get is how you can get some more training, or if you need some more one-on-one help, if you would like some more help with maybe customizing your room types, or if you want some more one-on-one training with specific scenarios at your property. I do recommend reaching out to our sales account manager, Michael Mitchell. His contact information is on screen here, and we'll include it in our follow-up today. If you're interested in purchasing any additional training, or more one-on-one support, Michael will be able to help arrange that for you with our training and implementation department. So to wrap up today's presentation, we've looked at quite a bit of information as far as an overview, getting into the details about creating and managing those house accounts and reservations, all the different types of billing and reporting that can be accommodated with house accounts. I did answer a couple of questions as we went, but I want to open up the floor to see if there's any outstanding questions. Just going to leave it open. If you do have any questions, go ahead and click the Q&A button. You can type out a question. We'll be able to answer it. Um, just going to leave it open for a couple of minutes here. Great. So we have a couple of questions populating here. I'm going to take the first one from Alicia regarding the in-house account balance. So the balances for in-house guests report, whenever it shows a group deposit balance, is that the group in-house? That's correct. So it will just show, I'm actually going to jump back to that slide that shows the in-house, that specific report. There we go. So this auditing report for in-house guests, this is only going to show balances for house accounts that are currently checked in. So if you have deposits for future groups, house accounts, they will not appear on this report until that group and that group house account is actually checked in. The next question, or sorry, the follow-up to that question from Alicia was, will it show the deposit balance on that report, even if it is, okay, yeah, even if it is a future group. So it will not show the future ones, it'll only show the in-house ones. Excellent. That's actually great to note. Any other questions? Okay, so it looks like there are no more questions outstanding here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up our presentation for today. If you do have any additional questions, you can reach out to our support team as well. Thank you everyone for joining in for today's live webinar presentation. I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon and happy billing.